Cocky! I don't hear nobody getting blamed! Everybody was equally pathetic!
Good morning, everyone. Let me make sure everything is running the way it should be running. Let me go to my channel. All right, we're good. All right, let me share this thing out as normal. All right, we're good. All right, let me you shut me up there. Boom. And Facebooks. Boom. All right, everyone. How are you doing today? While I'm waiting for everyone to I'm gonna come and do some. Let me get this thing out of your face. Jeez. Let me do some house cleaning first. This is going to be a shorter show. I'm going to do probably like 30 minutes, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about the Cowboys, and then more about the NFC, and how they have improved or gotten worse. I was trying to get into that last week, but we started rolling on the Cowboys or whatever. I'm going to address the negativity because I was in a car just now when I was coming back from the gym with my wife. And I was like, man, preparing for the show. And I was like, man, I don't want to. I'm so sick of getting, turning the camera on and being negative. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of that, and I'm sick of people thinking I get off by being negative. I can't stand it. And she was like, well, you've been negative for the past 3 years, and you've been right. And that's true. So I've been just scouring the internet since last night. I've been into all the sunshine spots for Cowboys on the internet, and I've been trying to find stuff that makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to find, because you need somebody, if it's just a few people, to make some sense to you. And you go, oh, okay, exactly. That's a good point. And I can't. I mean, I've been to Blogging the Boys and the Cowboy Zone, of course, and I've been reading through people's posts, and there's a lot of sunshine pumpers over there trying to get some information, trying to get something that I can go, okay. So that's your job. That when you're here right now, and even if you're watching this later on YouTube, please put something down there positive that kind of makes sense, so we can all hold on to, because it's frustrating to come into the season and you just feeling, blasé about the Cowboys. We want something to grasp on, and I want to give you something to grasp on. It's right now I'm suffering. Right now I'm suffering trying to find something. I'm suffering trying to put something together where I can deliver to you that really, honestly makes sense. And that's the thing. All right, let me see if anybody's here. What's up, NJTK? How's it going? Got 6 people. Moving right along. Okay, first order of business. I want to talk about Tony Romo, because there's a lot of talk for the past couple of weeks about how Tony Romo is going to be given more responsibility this year, and he's going to have more input in the play calling. He's going to have more input in the offense. Jerry Jones wants him to put in Peyton Manning like hours at the facility and things of that sort. And it to me, it seems like more disservice to Tony Romo. If you've been following my show for a while, I have a problem with Tony Romo, but it's not with the person Tony Romo. It's the way the organization has utilized Tony Romo. In my opinion, they have not utilized him correctly. They have not given him the opportunities to shine. They have not given him the tough love that he needs at certain time. It's just they have failed to give him the adequate support, in my opinion. They'll feed it to you. They'll feed it to you in a heartbeat. I mean, the Romo friendly offense, it sounded beautiful, but it has never come into fruition. This offense is so far from Romo friendly. A running game is a friend of a quarterback. The offensive line is a friend of the quarterback. The only thing that he's got that's really friendly to him is Des Bryant and Jason Witten, which are huge for Tony Romo. So this, in my opinion, falls into that same category. You have a guy who, in my opinion, I know some of you guys have different opinion, but in my opinion, Tony Romo struggles horribly with running the offense. He struggles horribly with actually running the offense. And the proof that I give you on that subject is in the first half, in the first 3 quarters of a football game, our offense is blasé. It's not very good. I think we didn't score hardly any points. I have the stats for you at a time down the road. But we have scored very little points in that first quarter, and it doesn't get good until the fourth quarter or late in the game when Tony Romo is allowed to just go and play street ball and throw the ball around and improvise and do all that kind of stuff. Then we get all the yards, we get scores and stuff like that. So that's Tony Romo's strength, but we've never been able to capitalize on that ability in the first 3 quarters. So now you're gonna tell Romo he needs to be more like Peyton Manning, which in my opinion is kind of late. You know what I'm saying? We should have been grooming him to be that type of student of the game, years ago when we made him a star. Remember 2007 when we made him a star? We should have been grooming him to stay in the film room like a Peyton Manning or things like that. But at this point in his career, when he's got a wife and a kid and all that kind of stuff, that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to make him just focus on football like that at this age. So that's tough. And giving him, and somebody just tweeted me like this, and people were tweeting me yesterday about this, giving him more say-so in the offense could be, I'm not going to say it is, it could be a recipe for disaster. And here's why. You have a quarterback who has all the stability in the world. He's not going to go anywhere. We know Tony Romo's not going to go anywhere. We know Tony Romo is going to be our quarterback, and we know he's going to be our starting quarterback for the next at least 3 years. And we have a coach that everybody blames everything on. Everything's Jason Garrett's fault, and that's what we do. It's always fault, all Rob Ryan's fault, and now it's going to be all Jason Garrett's fault. So we have that going. So therefore, as soon as there's some problems with the offense, I see bad headbutting going on because Romo is basically going to be the one in charge, not Jason Garrett. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like the head coach not having adequate amount of power. You saw what happened when Wade Phillips did not have an adequate amount of power. Some of it was Wade Phillips' fault with his personality, but a lot was Jerry Jones and my cutting his nads off in my turns. And I feel like Jason Garrett is in the same bucket right now where Jerry Jones has severed his nads. So it's going to be tough to get those two to work together when the quarterback is going to be the one who is the one with the stability and not the coach. So, what's up, Daniel? Daniel said Romo just cut back on golfing. Thank you, Romo. What's up, Sammy? What's going on, Shane? I finally catch your live show. Usually when you do this, I'm still sleeping. Me too. That's another thing. I'm gonna put Shango Live on hiatus because that's another thing. We're moving into a part of the season where it's really dead. You know, it's not dead before the draft. I mean, there's a ton to talk about before the draft, but after the draft, there's a little dead spot from now until training camp because we're ready to see these guys in action. We're ready to see what these guys can do and how fast they can actually mature. So I'm waiting for that, and we're gonna take a little hiatus. I'm still gonna make YouTube videos. The videos on YouTube will probably go up. I'll probably make 1 or 2 a week or whatever. But the live show where we have where we need to talk about stuff, there's just not enough information for us to talk about in this little window until training camp. But when training camp gets here, good gracious, we're gonna have everything to talk about. What's up, do 216? There we go. Hey, Michael Walker, here we go. Michael Walker has a conspiracy theory here. I like it. Shango, do you think JJ is sabotaging the season to have a shot at Johnny Football? No, I don't think so. JJ made a statement that he was real excited about this player. I don't see that simply because of the contract given to Tony Romo. I don't see us going after Johnny Football or sabotaging the season for Johnny Football or anything like that. However, it doesn't look like we're gearing up for a championship run next year. It doesn't look like it. And I try to tell people that over and over and over with this draft. The problem with the draft was not the players. It was where the players was taken. And Travis Frederick, I still haven't seen anything other than his athletic ability. I haven't seen anything that I don't like about Travis Frederick. I think he's smart, and it's the same thing, opposite of what I don't want to call Tyron. I don't want to say anything bad about Tyron, but I knew Tyron would struggle from reading with his past. I knew he would kind of struggle there at the beginning before he gets into where he is right now. I'm not seeing the same struggle with what I've read about Travis Frederick. I think Travis Frederick will be able to step in and start. I don't know how well he's going to play until he gets actually out there on the field. But I'm more confident about Travis Frederick than probably anyone else in the draft. But when you get past Travis Frederick, you have players that are going to help us in the future. And not this coming year, which is really confusing to me. I mean, you sign an older quarterback. Tony Romo's not young anymore, and you sign him. And we know, I mean, the smart Cowboy fans know Tony Romo's got maybe like 3 years, maybe. To think he's going to be quarterbacking longer than 3 years, that would be a blessing. If he's here after 3 years, it's a blessing. But 3 years, I think, will be the max that we can get out of Tony Romo at this stage. So, knowing that, it seems like you would want to gear up and have your team at its fullest for the next 3 years to maximize us having this above-average quarterback. Because you don't know what kind of quarterback is going to be coming after Tony Romo. So, it just seems like to me that we should have, or we should be gearing up for now. And it just doesn't seem that way. Gavin Escobar, he looks like a stud. He's a big tight end. He's got to work on some of his routes. He's gonna have to work on he's gonna have to work on his blocking. I hear his hands are absolutely excellent. So he's a lot for us to be excited about. However, he's not going to get that much play. You know, and with people talking up the Cowboys, I hear, oh yeah, we're going to be running 2 tight end offense or whatever. But Tony Romo is going to Jason Witten. Tony Romo is going to Jason Witten. It's going to happen. That other tight end, we've tried it so much. It's just not going to happen with Tony Romo. He's going to Witten. And Witten's going to be open, and Witten's going to catch the ball, and it's going to be good. Like it always has been. So the Gavin Escobar pick is going to help us down the road. He's going to be a great fill-in whenever Witten is done. But this season, I don't see how he could do much more than what Hannah did last year. And to elevate our game up to that level. So that's kind of confusing. Terrence Williams, again, that pick I really loved because it was a value pick. I mean, there was no reason for him to be, there for the pick in the 3rd round. But again, he's going to have to learn the full NFL route tree. He didn't run but a few routes at Baylor, so he's got a lot to learn. He's got a lot to get in his, he's got a lot to figure out before he becomes an absolute threat on the football field. But again, in 2-3 years, same as Dwayne Harris. Dwayne Harris came in, not highly touted, but as a pretty good player from East Carolina. Took him a minute, and now Dwayne Harris is one of my favorite players on the football team. I trust Dwayne Harris. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to take a minute for Terrence Williams to be able to utilize his extreme talents on the football field. Again, 2015. 2000, you know what I'm saying? 2014, 2015. It's a down the road thing. Randall is a pick now, but then we have J.J. Wilcox. J.J. Wilcox, I know he did a great job at the Senior Bowl. So maybe he's turning a corner and I don't know about it. You know, that's a huge thing that could be happening. If you've seen if you go to YouTube and you put J.J. Wilcox and watch his scouting tape, I don't think you'll be that impressed. Some people were a little impressed. Some people say, "Oh my God, he's trash." You can look at the comments, but then when you go to listen to people that were at the Senior Bowl and Senior Bowl weekend, that he looked like one of the better safeties out there. So maybe he looked good in those drills. Maybe he just had some good games. We don't know, but I don't see Wilcox coming in and being a stud like per se Kenny Vaccaro would have if he had failed. I used him because he didn't fall, but like a Kenny Vaccaro or a safety that had been in an SEC school that is seasoned, and ready to move up to the NFL. I just don't see him making that immediate impact right now, and so it's just like these picks. We like them. There's no. I don't think I've heard that many people just trash the players that were picked in this draft. However, the confusing part to me is their picks for down the road. And we've got this quarterback that needs to win now. For a lot of reasons, he needs to win now. For his mentality, he needs to win now. I don't know how much losing Tony Romo can take. I don't know how many more bad games or interception-filled games Romo can take if he can't get any blocking from the offensive line and things of that sort. So it's just confusing to me because it seems like, in my opinion, that we should be gearing up for the next 3 years. But we are giving the San Francisco 49ers a safety so they can get better. Really doesn't make any sense. Morning Cowboy Nation, do 416. Let's go. Daniel says that's why Romo looked up to Brett Favre. They both have the most unique play style in NFL history. Yeah, they do have a unique play style. I just don't think we've captured how to use Romo's play style. I think if we could capture what happens with Romo in that fourth quarter, the magic that happens with Romo in that fourth quarter, if we could capture that and make sure that happens throughout the game, then it would be a totally different situation. But we've never been able to figure out how to utilize Romo at his best when he's at his best. What's up, Braden Wallace? Do you think Terrence Williams will replace Miles in a few years? I think Miles is gone after this year. I really do, and I think that is the main reason why they went ahead and it was easy to make that pick anyway because Terrence Williams had no business there in that round. But knowing that Miles is injury prone, Miles is making a ton of money. I just don't think Miles is going to be there long unless Miles puts up a killer season. And I just think I like Miles Austin. I like him a lot, but I really think the Miles success was on Tony Romo. Just like the Laurent Robinson success was on Tony Romo. So the Terrence Williams success will be because of Tony Romo, in my opinion. So that can move out seamlessly, in my opinion. Terrence Cartwright says, I hope to God Frederick starts at center. We need to control that pressure from the middle. Yeah, but that pressure from the outside is tough too. I just want to see Frederick just plowing people. I really do, and I want to see that his athletic ability will not hamper him on the second level. I know some people say that speed doesn't matter at all. It does a little bit. It does when you're pulling. It does, and this confuses me. It does with Jason Garrett's offense because people who've been following this team and the way they've been built up. You remember back when Jason Garrett was putting together when he got rid of Leonard Davis and Garrod because they were slow, meat grinding, plowing type offensive linemen. We got rid of them because we thought that Jason Garrett wanted quicker, more agile offensive linemen that could get out in front of our running back on screens and things of that sort. So now that we're going back to the strongest guys, the Leonard Davises, the big boys that can blow you off the ball, since we're going back to that type, it seems like we're working against what Jason Garrett is trying to do. Again, seems like we're just moving. We've taken all Garrett's power and moving them to the side, and it's going to. And watch it happen. If we don't have success, it's all the blame is going to go on Jason Garrett. And I just don't see this center being a part of Jason Garrett's offense of what he told us he wanted a few years ago. So that's just another part of the weird thing. It's just like we have conflicting philosophies going on here everywhere, and that's the basis of my confusion. Yeah, there we go. Do4216 says Shango, if you're going to sabotage this season, wouldn't we rather get Jadeveon Clowney? Yes. Clowney will step in and be the next Ware for the next 10 years. And we know more than anything that you need to get pressure on these quarterbacks. And especially with these quarterbacks in the NFL now that can run 4.4s and 4.5s, we need a defensive end that can run a 4.4 or 4.5. And that's Clowney. If you have not seen that kid play football, he's from my area in South Carolina. That's why I'm talking him up a little bit too much. But if you haven't seen him play football, you need to watch the South Carolina Gamecocks this coming year and watch him absolutely destroy people. He absolutely destroy. His quickness is amazing and everything. So yeah, hey. If we get that kid, it makes our defense a lot better instantly. But he's probably going to go number one. Maybe Witten will open up more for Escobar out there. Maybe so, NJTK1000, but we can't we can't discard history. And history says that Tony Romo is going to lock in on Witten, and he's going to throw the ball to Witten as soon as he sees Witten open in a window. And Tony Romo extremely trusts Witten. So it's hard for us to think that Tony Romo is gonna just overnight turn into one of those quarterbacks that goes back and makes his reads, boom, 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 and though he doesn't do that. We didn't teach Tony Romo to do that. Tony Romo goes back and he sees what he wants and he waits till it opens and he throws the ball. Or he sees what he wants and he gets away from and then he throws it to where he wants to throw it. He does not make very many reads. And what you're calling for there with Witten opening up stuff for Escobar, that means Tony Romo is looking at Witten and then looks over at Escobar and hits him. And that's something we don't see too much with Tony Romo. Cowboys, NJTK 1000 says, Cowboys need to get this free show on the road. They need to make a decision. He ain't worth waiting on. I don't understand the wait on free. Maybe it's the June 1st cuts or whatever. I don't know. But I know that Claybo is gone. I think Eric Winston is still out there. But we need to move on one of these tackles so we can get Free out of here. If we just get rid of Free and use Parnell, I don't think you're going to be that happy. I don't think Parnell is going to be an adequate full-time starter for the Cowboys. He probably can do some spot duty, but if you remember last year, maybe it was because of the competition when Parnell came in. Maybe because Parnell didn't do that much better than Free, but Free looked just as good, if not better, than Parnell when they played. And we know what we have in Free. So I think we really needed to get a tackle or somebody in to help Romo right now, because Frederick's not going to help everything on the offensive line. Frederick is going to help maybe Cook, or he's going to help McKenzie or Livings. One of those guys will be out and Frederick will be in. But that still leaves two more leaks in the interior of the offensive line and one leak on the outside of the offensive line. So we have 3 weak areas on our line right now, and I think that needs to be fixed if we're going to have any type of a running game and any type of a passing game. To think that Frederick, and you've already heard me and how I am on Frederick. We can't expect Frederick to come in and elevate our offensive line by himself year one as a rookie. I just don't think we can expect that to happen. Daniel, you heard it here first. J.J. Wilcox is going to be a week 1 starter and finish the year with a league leading 4 to 7 picks. Daniel, I hope you're right. But I think he had 2 INTs in college at the safety position. He's only played the safety position 1 year. He's very raw. You know, there's a lot of stuff that makes you think that we're just going to have to wait for stuff like that. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a very, very good football player. But for me to expect him to be on par with these kids coming out the SEC, it's hard for me to see that. It's hard for me to see that. I want to see that, and I wish it would happen. But that's just that's a hard thing to push. I think Matt Johnson has a better chance because at least, you know, him coming from a small school, at least he's had 1 year to study and to see things and to hear things about how it's happening, whatever. And Matt Johnson is just as good of a prospect, in my opinion, as J.J. Wilcox. So I'm still looking for Matt Johnson and Barry Church to be our safeties. I want Barry Church to be what the coaches said he was. We hadn't seen it yet because he hadn't had a chance to play. But I want Barry Church to be what the coaches said he was. And I want Matt Johnson to be what he is on his highlight videos out of college. And if we have those two, then we have a decent couple of safeties. J.J. Wilcox, 2015, 2014. Yeah, most likely Dallas will keep Free. Sadly to say, American Fine said that one. I think Free is going to be a Cowboy this year. It really just looks like it because unless, like I said, unless Eric Winston comes in, I don't think there is many better viable options out there for us to do. I've told you what I felt about Parnell. Your boy QC, I think we honestly need a makeover on the defensive side. Still a true Cowboy fan. I like to see a Romo step up. I'm glad you said that, your boy QC. I'm really, really, really worried about the defensive side of the football. Mainly the defensive line. I'm really worried about that because if you look at the top team, for instance, let's take Seattle for instance. Seattle has young stud, and then behind them another young stud, future stud, solid ball play. They have depth and youth at the defensive line, and that's the point of attack. That's what gets hit every play. That defensive line. So, and when you lose someone, and that's what happened to Seattle last year. They lost their pass rush, and they couldn't, and they were short in the playoffs, and they knew that's why they went and got Cliff Averill. They knew they needed to up their pass rush, so they went and got another pass rusher. In my opinion, you need horses on that defensive line, especially in today's NFL, to keep throwing at them. You can't expect someone to be in such great shape at age 32 and 33 to be in such great shape that they can go every down. Because I'm sorry, we don't have any. The best thing we have behind our starters is Tyrone Crawford, and Crawford had a average to decent year last year. It wasn't anything special. Listen, more of the same thing. Nothing really special. An average to decent football player. So we don't have that great of depth behind Ratliff, who to expect Rat to be able to go full out 16 games when he hadn't come close to that in the last few years. It just seems like a stretch to me. It really does. So yeah, defense worries me a lot. The linebacker core, I love our linebacker core, but I was talking to someone in the gym. You wouldn't believe how many Cowboy fans out here. I was talking to someone at the gym, and I was telling, and he was like, he was a Raider fan, and he was wanting Star Tui, and he went to Carolina, and I was like, Carolina was so smart because they got that big monster up there on their defensive line to leave Luke Kuechly wide open. And watch Luke Kuechly this year. If he doesn't have an injury, Luke Kuechly is going to be a Pro Bowl linebacker because he's not going to have anyone touching him. There are not going to be any offensive linemen getting to the second level because Starr is going to have them by their arms. So therefore, he's going to do his job by holding the offensive line at bay and letting Luke Kuechly run around and create havoc like he does. That boy's bad. I wanted him so bad in the draft. But we have a player comparable to that in Sean Lee. If we can keep players, keep the offensive line from getting to the second level and putting their hands on Sean Lee and keeping Sean Lee open, same with Bruce Carter, keeping them too open, especially with their speed, we can do a whole lot of damage. A whole lot of damage on the defensive side of the ball. But again, we have Hatcher and Ratliff there. Both are not that huge. You know what I'm saying? And maybe they won't be able to hold back the offensive line from getting to the second level and touching our linebackers as well as we would like it to be. So there's problems on every level. We want Mo Clay to be the stud that he's supposed to be. Last year he didn't have that great a season. Brandon Carr is I love Brandon Carr. I loved the way he plays the game and everything. But he's not a Deion Sanders. He's not a quarterback that's going to be able to run around and cover someone for a while. So if we don't get a pass rush in on the quarterback, Brandon Carr's going to get burnt too. And then the safety situation. So it's hard for me to think that, oh, we got Marinelli and Kiffin now. The defense is going to be great. It's the same players. And then it's also, I mean, it's a new scheme. And what happened when Rob Ryan came in? You know, we were like, okay, I'm glad Wade is gone. Rob Ryan is going to do it for us. And we suffered the first year because it's a new scheme. Everybody had to learn the new things and learn how to run Rob Ryan's defense. So it's gonna be that kind of process again with our defense trying to learn the 4-3 with Monty Kiffin. It's going to be a learning curve there. So it's really, again, it's hard to think that year one Kiffin's going to come in and we have top defense in or one of the top defenses in the NFC NFL, and we're going to need that. Really going to need that. I think honestly we need Romo will be. NJTK says Romo is good with the no huddle offense. We need to run that more often. Very true. Romo is the best when he's scrambling out the pocket. Very true. We just have never realized that. What's up, Rally Even? Daniel Carter says Miles need to go back to dating Kim Kardashian, and Romo needs Jessica Simpson. Those were 13-3 and 10-6. Yeah. What's up, boy? One thing people are looking for on our team is the trust Tony developed for Dez last year. That is a John G. He brought a little bit of sunshine that really makes some sense. He says, one thing people are overlooking for our team is the trust Tony developed for Dez last year. I'd even go as far as to say that he trusted him more times than Witten to make a play. Absolutely. From mid-season on until when Dez turned it on, from mid-season on, the Romo to Dez combo was absolutely frightening for other teams. Frightening. And it's the one thing on offense that I was just certain of that could do damage against any defense in the NFL. Any defense. Romo can go to Dez and they can get stuff done. So that is a major plus on our end, having those two together. And that's the reason why we're going to be able to win any game this year. We're going to be able to beat any team this year. It's just how consistent can we do it. Thank you, John G. Rarely even says, how did I become a Cowboy fan? Child of America's team. I mean, when I was a kid watching Dallas and seeing the Cowboy Stadium at the beginning of that, Hollywood Henderson, I wore Hollywood Henderson's number and played linebacker when I was in Little League. It was just the Cowboys were just my team, and it was the brilliance of Tex Schramm. It was the brilliance of Tex Schramm to have the cheerleaders and push us on the television that created what we have now. People think Jerry Jones had a lot to do with this Dallas Cowboy thing. No, Jerry Jones bought it when it was low because he knew what it had. But this Cowboy thing was built by the America's Team thing was built by Tex Schramm, by pushing the envelope and by being an innovator. And I am a result of what he did, during the 70s. Positive thought, Felix is gone. Yeah, actually. All right, let's... Yeah, I saw that American Finds. He said, I commented on a post on your wall, Shingo, and wrote that Jerry won't live forever. Yeah, we want to clarify I wasn't wishing death upon Jerry Jones. Yeah, somebody else said that too. And I think we all thought it, but nobody really wants to say that. Nobody wants to say, Jerry, as soon as Jerry's gone, it'll be different. Yeah, that's just like a icky thing to think and an icky thing to say. But we understand. We understand. We understand where you're going though. John G. I believe let's read John G again because he's coming with some good stuff this morning. I believe we have not jumped into free agency at the right tackle position because the Cowboys generally believe that Parnell will eventually be dug for each replacement, and it will be cap friendly. Can't say I believe Parnell will be a super upgrade, but keep in mind the signing of a free agent would have put us in a bigger hole for next year. And if we cut free next year, all things being the same right now, I think it would save us some space. I agree. But the only thing that bothers me there is we're paying our quarterback so much money. We're paying our quarterback so much money, and he's older. He doesn't have that much longer to play. So it just seems like instead of having a cap, we would save cap space elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? And try to use as much as we can to help Romo stand upright. Because that's the major problem. When Romo goes back and has no time whatsoever to get anything done, then that just defeats everything that we have going on. So I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. It just seems like we need to protect Tony Romo. DJ ATL Philly said that's why the Ravens wanted so many D-line players that can keep the offensive line, would keep O-linemen off Arthur Brown. Yeah, you just have to have horses on your defensive line. You have to keep throwing fresh guys out there on the defensive line, because when you have teams that will say, for instance, I know a good team, a good example. Say we make the playoffs in December, and where Ratliff, Hatcher, and Spencer have endured the whole season, they've been pushed around for a minute. So they're not at their top of their game during the playoffs because they had to fight through the season to get them to the playoffs. So and fight by themselves without much help. So you run up against a team with like maybe Seattle, and you have Skittles running at you, and you have the what's his name, Christine Michael running at you, and you have a Turban running at you. You got three running backs that are really physical and fast and powerful, and they will just beat your defense into submission. And that's why they're built like that. They're built to like punch you and punch you down and punch you down until you go, okay, I'm good, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? So that's why that teams like Seattle have just built defensive linemen and then built a backup so they can keep putting fresh people out there to stop people from pounding them like that. So that's exactly what worries me. Shango, we have Brian Price. He's had some personal issues, but still very young. And I saw a story very interesting in seeing if he's a week one starter with Ratliff. Eminem, I agree. I've heard a lot of things about Brian Price, but honestly, every year we have some great stories from some great players that we want to believe in like that. If you look throughout the league, every team right now has players exactly like Brian Price that had personal issues or something. They had an injury or something happened. Something happened and they were rookie free agents or whatever, and they're wishing the best for. But a lot of times it just does not happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to think that it will when I've seen it not happen so many times. So I'm hoping for the best for Brian Price, but I can't hold on to that as something that will, be a definite plus for us. Marcos, hey, it's that fan out of Richmond, Texas again. After dropping both games to the Skins last season, do you feel that they're our biggest threat in the NFC East? Yes. Okay, in that, with that, I'm gonna go quickly, because we only have 45 minutes. I said it was gonna be a 30-minute show, and I've been running my mouth. I'm gonna go quickly through the NFC and what and the teams and of who I think have gotten better and who didn't get better. I'm gonna start with the New York Football Giants in the NFC East. I don't like where the Giants are at. I think the Giants are struggling, trying to keep Cruz and trying to keep some of their players and this and that. But Giants running game will be strong, so they're going to be an 8-8 or above team probably. They're probably not going to be below 8-8, but I just don't see the Giants being a huge threat as they were before. I think their reign might be coming to an end. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Philadelphia Eagles are a huge wild card. I think Chip Kelly is absolutely brilliant. I don't think he's a gimmick guy. I don't think he has he doesn't have the same pedigree as a Shanahan with the Redskins in the NFL. But I think Chip Kelly might do some things in Philadelphia that might surprise some people. So Philadelphia, actually, I think Philadelphia scares me a little bit more than the Giants because I know what the Giants are going to bring. I don't know what Philadelphia is going to bring. And Philadelphia had a pretty good draft, and Chip Kelly is honed into college talent, so he knows who's good, who's not good right now. So Philadelphia is a huge wild card. Washington is a problem. Washington Redskins are a problem. I looked. Philip Thomas was one of my favorite safeties before the draft. Bakari Rambo is very good. Emerson, but I think they did pretty good in the draft at where they needed to be good in the draft. And we talk about our injuries last year. The Redskins had devastating injuries last year too. So they're going to get those guys back. They're going to get a Rakpo back, and they're going to get Carricker back, and players like that. So the Redskins with RG3, and they're going to be a serious problem for us for years to come. Sorry. NFC, what is it, Central? Green Bay, I don't want to talk about them. Aaron Rodgers is the best in the game right now by far. Then they added a running game to them. They don't need wide receivers. I don't think Greg Jennings' departure is going to hurt them that much because of the same reason why I said that Tony Romo made Miles Austin, Tony Romo made Lauren Robinson. Aaron Rodgers is the same way, even better. He will make the next guy become a stud just because Aaron Rodgers is a stud. So I'm not worried about them. Their defense is going to be fine. Green Bay's a problem. Chicago, they beat us soundly last year. Urlacher was slow and not as good, but Chicago is a team that could make some noise in the NFC. I don't think they're as good as they were last year, possibly, but I think with Brandon Marshall and Cutler and all those guys, they are a problem in the NFC. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota killed the draft. I live with a Minnesota Viking fan. They killed the draft. Killed it. And that is a team, a lot of people didn't watch Minnesota because they weren't on national TV very much. But I got a chance to watch Minnesota a few times last year. They're a good football team. They are a good, strong, mentally strong football team. Jared Allen is like the opposite of Ware. Jared Allen, if you make him mad, or if it's time for him to get a sack, you best believe it's going to be a sack. The dude he's just incredible that way. And then you have the other guy on the other end, Roberson. I mean, Minnesota is a very good football team, and they will do some serious damage in that division. The Detroit Lions, I put us mainly in the same category as the Detroit Lions. A really good offense, defense suspect. I mean, come on, we have Detroit. We have linebackers that Detroit didn't want anymore, Durant and Sims. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's just I don't think our defensive. I think Detroit's defensive side of the ball, they're searching for an identity over there, and I think we're going to be in the same predicament, searching for an identity over on the defensive side defensive side of the football. I think we're very similar to Detroit. Detroit can win any game. Detroit can beat anyone just because they have a very good quarterback and the best receiver in the game, probably Calvin Johnson. Simple with that. Simple as that. New Orleans Saints, they got the coach back and the quarterback. That's all they need. They're going to be very good. Tampa Bay is the most improved team in the NFC, in my opinion. Tampa Bay is absolutely stacked with studs for the last couple of years. They've got a killer running game, a massive offensive line, and the only question mark in my mind with them is the quarterback position. And I think they did an excellent job with that by drafting a quarterback, putting them right under Josh Freeman and saying, hey, Josh, you better do good this year. If you want your money and a job, you better put it down this year. So that was very brilliant on their part. So I'm looking to see Tampa Bay do a lot of things. The Carolina Panthers, I just don't think the front office is very good. I think they did very good in the draft by getting those defensive tackles, but I don't think they have enough weapons for Cam. I don't think they are. I think they are doing similar things that we did to Tony Romo to Cam, but not giving him adequate support, and just using him for his abilities or whatever. So I don't see Carolina making that many moves right now, but we'll see. I'm missing somebody. New Orleans. Oh, Atlanta. You know how good Atlanta is. San Francisco, we helped them get even better, and I still think they're the cream of the crop of the NFC. On their heels is the Seattle Seahawks, who are closest to the cream of the NFC as you can get. And then you have a team that I am physically afraid of. The St. Louis Rams. I know a lot of you looked at the Rams on our schedules. Okay, we got an easy game there. The Rams are not an easy game. Again, another team, and I hope if you got NFL Rewind, I would suggest you go back and watch some Rams games last year. That team has taken the attitude of Jeff Fisher, and they are tough and they are rough. And now they done put some really good players out there on offense and got a really fast linebacker. The Rams might make moves. I mean, the 49ers couldn't beat the Rams last year. And that was legit. It wasn't like fakeness. And Arizona is, if Arizona can get some quarterback play in a running game, then Arizona will be just a killer. Arizona's defense is probably one of the best in the NFC in the NFC. So when I look down there, when I went down the list of every NFC teams that and how they're doing this year, everybody's looking pretty good, except for probably Carolina and maybe Detroit. Everybody's looking pretty good. So it's going to be a tall thing for us to make it to the playoffs this year and do some damage with those guys. All right, I got 24 comments. I'm going to try to go through these quickly. We got 5 minutes. Yeah, Rarely even says Revis Allen is in the NFC now. I hate that. I think that the read 81 Singleton says, I think the read option is going to die a death this year. Agree? No, I don't. And this is why 81 Singleton. I think it's being put together by people who know the NFL game. The Shanahans. Shanahan, his zone blocking scheme, the way he coaches and the way the things that he knows, Shanahan won't let it die. If this was a college coach, if this was Chip Kelly, or this was somebody else that's bringing a new thing in, and if this was like the Wildcat or something like that, it would be a little gimmick offense. It would be different. But this is Mike Shanahan's offense with a dangerous twist on it. So I think we've got our hands full with Washington for a minute. Marcos Rangel says, I'm not sure Philly knows which way they're going with quarterback. Me either, because they have so many different styles of quarterbacks. So, and that's one thing that I never understood. that if you had a starter that was a mobile quarterback, I don't understand why you would back him up with someone who can't move. Orton behind Romo. It's the same thing when you have a quarterback that can run a specific type of offense. You want the backup to be similar to the starter so you can run the same type of offense. You don't want a backup that comes in, you have to change everything to conform to that quarterback. And I think Matt Barkley and Michael Vick are so far removed from each other. Michael Vick and Dennis Dixon are together. And Nick Foles and Matt Barkley are together. But I don't know where they're going with quarterback either. Very good observation, Marcos. Hey Jedi, what's up? John G, I'm calling it now. John G is the poster of the day, by the way, everyone. John G has been putting it down. John G, I'm calling it now. Dallas Cowboys will win the NFC East, and I'm not just saying that being optimistic. Usually the team being left out of the predictions is the team that wins the NFC East. Philly was picked to win in the last 2 years in preseason. Hey, it's not like we can't do it. No one can say the Cowboys can't beat anyone in the NFL on any day. That can happen. So the only thing that we have to do is something we haven't done in a long time, is play consistent football. That's the thing. That's the biggest thing that's been in our way. We play great this game, and then we're inconsistent in the next game. So if we could play consistently, good football, then that could happen. That could definitely happen. So hey, I like this. We got some positive energy going on today. This is what I wanted, man. Even though we're being completely realistic here, but I like finding positive things and trying to build on them. Robbie818 said the Vikings are no joke. The Vikings are no joke. They're another physical football team. There's a lot of physical football team, and the Vikings are one of them. Yeah, Marcos, I'm not sold on Ponder as a quarterback, but the thing about Ponder is a gamer. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like Ponder. I would laugh at Ponder, and I told wifey Ponder wasn't any good. But when I watched Ponder, Ponder was a gamer. He was trying to figure things out, and that is the kind of quarterback you need when you have a running back like Adrian Peterson. You want to give the ball you want to give the ball to your best player. So you want to hand the ball off to Adrian Peterson as much as possible, and you want a quarterback that can manage the game and make first downs when needed. Kind of like a Trent Dilfer when he won the Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer played. People want to drag Trent Dilfer, but those are mainly people who didn't watch those playoff games and the Ravens playoff run. Trent Dilfer played some good quarterback. He didn't light up the scoreboard. No way. He's not that type of quarterback. But you got to make smart decisions, and you manage the game, and with a good team, that can be very well. That can be very good. Should we pick up Brian Urlacher? No, Daniel. Brian Urlacher is slow. He's slow, dude. The Sport 78 says, "Sup, Shango? Do you think Ronald Leary can best out Bernadette for the right guard spot?" I hope so. Jerry was high on Leary last year. But Jerry was high on Andre Holmes. Jerry was high on a lot of people that he found in free agency, in rookie free agency. So we'll see. I don't know. That's another thing that we have to wait to training camp, and we got to see them actually, getting stuff done. Arizona Eagles. Arizona is not to be taken lightly, people. Arizona is not to be taken lightly. They will fight. They're in the best division of football, in my opinion, and they're going to fight down there. So watch out for those guys. I know, Mina, the NFC, that's why I wanted to make this video and talk about the NFC a little bit, because the NFC looks very, very good this season. The AFC has some suspect teams over there, but we have very few suspect teams. The only suspect teams we really have are the Carolina Panthers and maybe the Lions and everybody else, when you go in there and play that team, it's going to be a tough game. It's plain and simple. I don't think that we can beat any team out of NFC West. That's funny because a few years back they were the laughing stock in the NFL. We can beat anyone in the NFC West, but it has to be one of those formulas to where we are behind by a couple of scores in the fourth quarter, and Tony Romo and Dez Bryant just go off. That's how we can beat those teams. If we go head up with those teams and solid football game on both sides, they win. Sorry, they win. Too deep. Tim Benford sounds like he got cut. Yeah, Benford. I like Benford, but with Terrence Williams and Danny Cole and Cole Beasley, he wasn't going to make the team. Do you think the NFC East title will come down to the last 3 weeks? Yes, it always does. And the last question I will address from Ches at 881. What's your position on the Doug Free situation? Only get him out if you're definite that you can replace him with someone better. Because Tony Romo does not need to be put in a worse situation than he is right now. Again, if you're going to replace Doug Free, make sure that the person that is replacing Doug Free is clearly an upgrade, because we do not want to put Tony Romo in a worse situation than he was in last season. And that's when I'll call it a show. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. Again, I'm going to be making a lot of videos on YouTube, when things happen or whatnot. But we're going on a little hiatus from the live show until training camp. And then we're going to turn it up all the way because there will be a lot to talk about at that point. All right, guys. Thank you. And we'll holler at you later. Peace.